Welcome to the deep dive. Let's start with a claim that honestly sounds almost unbelievable, but it seems to be reshaping how work gets done. Imagine building a really complex AI automation, say something with, I don't know, 25 different steps, different tools talking to each other. Historically, that was an expert's job, measured in hours, maybe even days.
And now, now we're hearing that the entire structure, the whole thing mapped out, connected, partly set up, can be generated in about 90 seconds. That's the leap we're diving into today. It's kind of staggering.
We are digging into sources all about n8n's new AI workflow builder.
Hmm.
And this isn't just, a minor update. The claim is a 10x shift in how fast you can build things, opening up this whole agent era to pretty much everyone.
Right. Our mission here is to unpack how this tool basically tears down the old barriers. Automation used to be for coders, for specialists. The idea now is it's for you, for anyone.
So we'll look at that speed increase, the different ways this AI builder actually works, and walk through 3 examples, simple to seriously complex. And crucially, what this means for the economics of your time and your work. Okay, let's get into it. Thinking back to how automation used to be built, it wasn't just hard, it felt like there was so much friction.
Yeah.
Like the system wanted you to be an expert.
Oh, absolutely. Even for someone like me who lives in these tools, a simple 3-step thing. 10, 15 minutes, easy. If you were just starting out, forget it. Half an hour minimum, and probably feeling pretty defeated afterwards.
Yeah, defeated is a good word. The friction points were just everywhere. You had to manually look through hundreds of these nodes, these little tools, just to pick the right one. And setting up credentials,
Yeah.
especially for Google stuff, that was like this legendary headache. It honestly felt like you needed a PhD sometimes just to connect 2 apps.
Right. And the time spent debugging. Oh man, that often took longer than actually building it, but that whole mess just collapses with this AI co-pilot approach. Simple stuff. 1, 2 minutes. Complex, 5 to 10. And the extreme case, that one-shot build, under 2 minutes.
So the whole interaction changes. You just
Yeah.
you describe what you want
Yeah.
in plain English.
Pretty much. You give it the prompt, the AI figures out the right nodes, connects them logically, and here's the kicker, it intelligently grabs your saved credentials if you have them. And it even puts in some basic settings. It's basically building the skeleton for you.
That doesn't sound like just making things faster. That sounds like completely removing the wall that kept most people out. It really is a paradigm shift.
It is. So if the setup gets that simple, what's left for the user to actually do?
The user gets to focus on the strategy, the why, and then checking the final details, maybe that last 10%. Okay, so it's important to understand this AI workflow builder isn't just like a chatbot giving advice. It's described as an active agent. It has access to all the n8n documentation, knows about the 500+ tools, or nodes, and the best ways to use them.
Right. Nodes. Think of them like specialized Lego blocks for your automation. Each one does a specific job, gets data, processes it, sends it somewhere else.
And the sources highlight 2 really distinct modes for this AI. Knowing the difference seems key. Let's start with Ask mode.
Ask mode is your helper. It's like having a consultant sitting next to you. It can explain how a node works, suggest ways to build something, answer your questions, but, and this is crucial, it won't actually change anything in your workflow. It's read-only, basically. Good for planning.
Okay, planner mode. Then there's build mode. That sounds like where the action happens.
That's the agent doing the work. It adds the nodes, connects the wires, fills in the settings, even handles credentials, all based on your prompt. This is how you get those super fast builds. But there's a catch. A pretty significant one mentioned. A 1,000 character limit for the prompt.
1,000 characters. That does feel restrictive. Doesn't that immediately rule out a lot of complex, real-world business processes that need detailed instructions?
Yeah, that's the challenge they flagged. Detailed automations often need way more than 1,000 characters to describe accurately, forcing you to be super concise or figure out another way.
So why is that 1,000 character limit such a big deal for more advanced users?
Real-world automations often need descriptions much longer than that constraint allows.
All right, let's look at the first case study, Agent 1. Pretty straightforward. Monitor an email inbox, use AI to figure out a response, and draft that reply.
Yeah, the kind of thing that used to be 10, maybe 15 minutes of clicking around. In the test described, they gave it a single prompt. The AI picked the right Gmail trigger, something called an AI agent node, and the Gmail send node, hooked them up, popped in the credentials, took maybe 30, 40 seconds.
Hold on, the AI agent node, can you clarify what that specific Lego block does?
Good catch. Yeah, so if a node is a tool, the AI agent node is basically a bridge. It lets your workflow talk directly to a large language model. Think ChatGPT, Claude, models like that. So
Uh-huh.
you can use it for tasks like summarizing text, writing drafts, analyzing sentiment, that kind of thing, right within your automation.
Got it. Makes sense. So 40 seconds for the build. But the sources said there were still minor tweaks needed, like fixing how data flowed into one field. Even with that, the total time was apparently only around 3 minutes.
Which is still a huge jump in productivity. And that speed really hinges on getting rid of those old friction points. The biggest one they mention, fixing Google Authentication.
Oh, I remember hearing about that. The old way sounded like torture. Going into the Google Cloud Console, creating OWF stuff, client IDs, secrets, the sources literally called it the #1 reason people just gave up.
Exactly. Now, it's just sign in with Google. One click. Apparently, they had to go through a pretty expensive Google audit to make that happen. It really shows they're serious about making it accessible.
And alongside that, the credential management is smarter too. The AI figures out which saved account to use.
Yeah, it suggests the right one based on the node. Little things, but they add up. So how big a deal is fixing that Google authentication for getting more people to use this?
It removes the single biggest hurdle, massively democratizing access for non-technical users. Okay, let's ramp up the complexity. Agent 2, advanced calendar analysis. This thing needed to run daily, look at calendar events, figure out productivity metrics, create a custom HTML report, and then email it.
Yeah, that's definitely more involved. Manually, you're easily looking at 30 to 60 minutes, maybe more if you hit snags. And right away, you hit that 1,000-character wall. The goal is just too detailed.
So they couldn't just type it all in. They had to use this hybrid strategy. Explain that.
Right. The clever workaround was using another AI. First, they mentioned Claude Sonnet 4.5 to break down the big, complex goal into tiny step-by-step instructions, like Step 1, add a calendar trigger. Step 2, add a code node. Then they fed those small instructions, one by one, into the n8n AI builder.
Okay, that is clever, using one AI to manage the other.
It is, and honestly, here's a bit of a confession. Even doing this stuff all the time, I still wrestle with prompt drift myself. You give an AI a really long, complex prompt, sometimes it just loses the plot, makes weird mistakes halfway through that cascade into chaos.
Sounds like a nightmare to debug.
It's what we call debugging hell in the notes, seriously.
Yeah.
Trying to find the one error in a huge 25-node workflow that the AI built all at once, no thanks. This node-by-node method, even if it feels slower initially, it prevents that massive headache. It's kind of admitting that sometimes breaking the problem down yourself or using a specialized AI for planning is just better.
So building it piece by piece, node by node, it keeps the AI focused on one thing at a time, and it lets the human check each step.
Exactly. Quality control at each stage. The results they reported were pretty amazing. For this quite complex agent, the total build time was about 15 minutes, but that was while they were explaining it on video. So realistically, probably 5 to 10 minutes normally. Compare that to 45, maybe 90 minutes the old way. It really shows the power of combining the NAAI for the structure and maybe a different AI for the really nuanced bits like code generation.
So besides using an external AI for planning, what's the main advantage of building node by node?
It isolates potential configuration issues to single components, making troubleshooting far easier and faster. Hashtag midroll sponsor read.
Sponsor read placeholder. Which brings us to the final test. Agent 3. This one sounds wild. A complex, long to short form content factory. Fetch a video, transcribe it, analyze it for viral bits, chop it into multiple short clips, make thumbnails, A/B test titles, publish everything. We're talking 25, maybe more, nodes needed here.
Yeah, historically, that's not hours. That's potentially days of frustrating work, even for an expert. So for this test, they basically threw a Hail Mary. They took the description, chopped it down ruthlessly to fit exactly 1,000 characters, and fed the whole monster prompt to the AI builder at once. The ultimate one-shot test.
Oh, wow. Okay, pushing the limits. So what happened? Did it just crash and burn?
This is the part that, whoa, seriously, imagine scaling this kind of capability. The n8n AI built the entire massive 25-node workflow, the structure, the triggers, the logic, the connections, in about 90 seconds. That's just an incredible display of technical leverage right there.
90 seconds for a 25-step structure. That is genuinely hard to get your head around. But let's be clear on what it didn't do. The sensitive stuff, right? Like actually getting API keys or logging into external accounts.
Correct. It couldn't do that, which makes sense security-wise, but it built maybe 80–90% of the whole thing, and it even gave specific instructions on what manual steps were left. Like, okay, now you need to go here and authenticate this account. It perfectly highlights the emerging model. Humans provide the strategy, the taste, the critical security bits like authentication. The AI provides the raw speed and does the heavy lifting of execution.
And that speed, that ease,
Uh,
it does more than just save time. It changes the economics, doesn't it? Specifically, the threshold for when automation even makes sense.
Oh, fundamentally. Think about the old way you'd decide whether to automate something. You'd think, okay, this annoying task wastes maybe 2 minutes a week. But building the automation will take me 2 hours. Ugh, not worth it.
So you just kept doing the annoying task manually.
Yeah.
Forever.
Exactly. But the new calculation is completely different. It's, okay, this task wastes 2 minutes, maybe even just 2 minutes a month. But building the automation will take me 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely worth it. The economic barrier to automating just plummeted. It basically went to zero. It's now worthwhile to automate even the tiniest little time-wasting inefficiencies.
That shift in cost benefit seems huge. It creates a potential gap, doesn't it?
Definitely. So what's the competitive implication for professionals who decide not to embrace this?
They will struggle to compete with those who deploy an army of fast, always-on AI agents daily. Hashtags, tag, big idea recap.
So if we boil it all down, the core idea is pretty straightforward. Building these AI agents, these automations, just got something like 10 times easier, and that's massively speeding up the arrival of this agent era we keep hearing about. It puts real power into the hands of, solo entrepreneurs, non-technical folks, people who were previously locked out.
Yeah, the winning formula seems clear. It's human expertise. The strategy, the judgment, the final checks combined with AI execution for that incredible speed and scale. That combination just multiplies value. Technology is the ultimate lever, really. Hashtag tag, outro. So if you're listing and thinking, okay, I want this leverage, the practical advice from the sources seems to be, don't overthink it, just start. The biggest hurdle is inertia.
Yeah, focus on building those first one or two agents. Just push through that initial learning curve. Once you do that, you've kind of conquered 90% of the friction. Keep it simple at first. Use that node-by-node method if things get complex. And always, always remember, your job is that crucial last 10%. Reviewing, refining, making sure the AI actually did what you intended.
Okay, let's leave you with a final thought, pulled from the conclusion of the material we looked at. The gap between people who embrace building and deploying these kinds of fast AI agents and those who don't. That gap is likely going to widen fast, possibly becoming impossible to bridge. So the question isn't if you should automate that 2-minute inefficiency, but how quickly you're going to decide to do it out to your music.